It's a freezing winter night at Valley Forge, 1777. The American Revolution is hanging by a thread, soldiers are starving, frostbite is eating away at their bodies, and George Washington himself is worn down, exhausted, and desperate for hope. Now, imagine the father of our country having a nightmare so vivid, so terrifying, that he believed it was a prophecy meant for future generations. What if that vision wasn't just some random dream, but a warning for us? Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "Come on, that sounds like some ghost story," let me just tell you, this isn't just some legend whispered in taverns. This was an account written down by people who claim to have heard Washington himself describe it. And the details? They'll make the hair stand up on the back of your neck. Stick with me, because by the end of this story, you'll see why so many people still talk about it like it's America's biggest red flag waving from the past. So here's how it goes. Washington, cold and weary, tries to get some rest. He drifts off into sleep and suddenly feels a strange presence in the room. Out of nowhere, a glowing figure appears. Not a soldier, not a friend, not even a human in the way we think of it. Washington described it as a spirit, radiant, powerful, impossible to ignore. And this figure tells him he's about to witness the future of the American Republic, our country hundreds of years ahead. And then, like something out of a movie, Washington is shown three visions. Three great trials the United States would face. The first one? The Revolutionary War itself, the battle they were already fighting. He saw smoke, blood, chaos, but eventually victory. The second vision? The Civil War, brother against brother, the nation ripping itself apart and yet somehow surviving. But it's the third vision, the final one, that really shakes people to their core. Washington said he saw America facing its darkest, most desperate trial. He saw vast armies, more powerful than anything before, pouring across the land. He saw cities burning, smoke choking the skies, people crying out in despair. He described it as an apocalyptic struggle where the survival of the nation was on the line. And just when it seemed like America would be wiped off the map, the Spirit said, "As long as the stars remain in the heavens, the Union will prevail." And in a blaze of light, America emerges battered but alive. Now pause for a second. Doesn't that sound a little too close for comfort? A nightmare, sure, but doesn't it echo the fears we all have? The feeling that maybe, just maybe, the biggest trial for America isn't behind us but ahead of us? Think about it. Washington's vision lines up eerily with our history, the Revolution, the Civil War. Two nailed on the head. So if he got those right, what about the third? That's why this so-called nightmare has haunted Americans for over 2 centuries. Was Washington seeing the future? Was he being warned by something divine? Or was it just the stress of war playing tricks on his mind? That's the debate. Some historians brush it off, saying the story didn't surface until decades later, making it more of a legend than fact. But others argue, hey, legends don't last this long without some grain of truth. And I gotta say, when you read Washington's description, it doesn't feel like a bedtime story. It feels like a man who truly saw something. Now here's the wild part. When you look around today, can't you feel echoes of that third vision? Division, anger, chaos brewing, outside threats and inside ones too. We've got people saying America is more fragile now than ever. And whether you believe in prophecies or not, it hits a nerve, doesn't it? Because deep down we all wonder, can this experiment, this republic, really last forever? And that's why Washington's nightmare is so powerful. It isn't just about doom and gloom. At its core, it's a warning wrapped in hope. Every single time the vision showed America on the brink of destruction, the country pulled through. Bloodied, scarred, changed forever, but alive. That's what makes the story so emotional. It's not just fear. It's resilience. It's the idea that no matter how dark it gets, we can fight our way back to the light. But here's the kicker. Visions don't fulfill themselves. Washington didn't see a magic hand swoop down to save us. He saw people, ordinary Americans, standing up, fighting, refusing to give up. That's the part that hits me hardest. If the prophecy's real, it doesn't mean we sit back and wait for fate. It means we take responsibility. We become the generation that decides whether America falls apart or rises stronger than ever. And maybe, just maybe, that's why this story has survived all these years. Not because it's spooky, not because it's mystical, but because it forces us to look in the mirror. Washington's nightmare isn't just about bombs or battles. It's about us. Will we keep fighting for unity, freedom, and the dream he risked everything for? Or will we let the nightmare win? So ask yourself this. If George Washington walked into your living room today, looked you dead in the eye and said, "America's future is hanging by a thread," what are you going to do about it? How would you answer? Because maybe that's the real prophecy. Not what he saw, but what we do with it. And listen, if this story gave you chills, if it made you think twice about where we're headed as a country, then stick with me. I've got more stories, more lost history, more warnings from the past that might just change the way you see the present. Don't just scroll past. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who still believes America has a fighting chance. Because Washington's nightmare doesn't have to be our reality. Together we can make sure it's just that, a nightmare, not our future.